This film and television editor was happily in the US on an O1 visa, editing away many, many television series, and then wanted to file the EB-1A. So the law firm took the O1 application, updated it a little bit, filed it to USCIS, got a really brutal request for evidence. They responded to it and then got a nasty denial. And they actually litigated and sued USCIS over the denial and then got the most massive request for evidence I've ever seen. It is over 35 pages of request for evidence challenging why this O1 candidate is not a good enough film and television editor to get a green card. At that point, we were engaged. We prepared everything with the other law firm and it won. The client got the green card. It's unbelievable. There's so much I want to share with you. Let's get to it. Hi everyone, my name is Joseph. I'm the managing partner here at Tsang and Associates, where we solve legal problems with creative solutions. So the legal problem in this case was that there is this most massive request for evidence that I have ever seen, that many of the firms that were working on this have ever seen. 35 pages. Most of our team said this is almost unwinnable, but if there's any silver lining, we have to try. And the case was won. So let's go through it. So number one, membership. This USCIS officer actually went in depth looking at the membership that this film editor was a part of and pretty clearly saw there's different ways to be a part of this membership. Yes, if you want an Emmy, you could be a part of this particular membership in this association, or you could pay $200 and you get a couple letter recs. Since there's easier ways to become a member, then I can't give you the credit that you are this amazing film editor just because you're part of this membership. So the only way to respond to this challenge was by saying, just because you pay a membership due and get letter recs, you can be involved, doesn't mean it's insignificant. Take a look at the letter recs that we got. It is amazing what all these major directors was able to write for this individual, and that's why they were part of this particular membership. The next thing was the published material about the alien in the professional trade journal. And so this was, again, pretty nasty and challenging because they were saying a lot of the media publication was one line, it was quoting off of each other, it was not significant, it was not a major news media, and so they're going to discount it. It was so bad, I'm going to read it, okay? The website does not appear to be a reliable source of information. Their website states, please note that we cannot guarantee that the information presented in our website are 100% accurate, although we try to use the most reliable and authoritative source from the website. Now, that seemed a little petty, but the way to fight petty is to be petty. What website doesn't have a disclaimer, right? USCIS, does your website have any disclaimers? As well as CBP website, as well as NVC website, as well as the consulate website. Every website has certain disclaimers talking about the information that's reliable. You cannot just take one thing out of context and discredit everything else. This person does have a lot of publications about them in various places, overseas, in the US, some are long, some are short, and just because one of the websites has that, you can't discredit everything. And so please, take a good look, or else this might be litigated, and you don't want this to be litigated. The next thing was about whether or not the client did meet the judgeship requirement. It was really interesting because USCIS officers directly admitted you fulfilled this requirement. You have met this requirement because your client was part of the committee that voted. If you vote for the Emmys, well, you are considered a member of an elite or a group of people that judge other people's work, right? I mean, how much higher can you go? But even though the officer admitted that, they still challenge it for more documentation. Please continue to provide all these other things. The response provided additional things and also explained, unlike major, like the Royal Academy or different other science committees, there's no formal application process. It's just whether or not you voted and whether you've been asked. And if other people have letter recommendations inviting you to ask, then it suffices to prove it. Next is original scientific contribution in the field. This was particularly hard because our client was a film editor. So how do you prove original contribution in the film and editing industry? The fact that she played an integral role editing a few of these top hits, that's indicative of their contribution on the world of film, right? Because Every good film is constantly pushing the boundary into new domains. And on the forefront of that are the editors involved with that process. Now, USCIS officer challenged the heck out of these arguments because she didn't edit all of the series. It's a TV show, right? She edited only some. The some that she edited, did it get a lot of reviews? Did it not get a lot of reviews? Were there media publications and books and interviews talking about it? The answer is no. But it's TV. TV is just different than movies. It doesn't get as much attention, but still, these are some big hits. The officer challenged the letter of recommendation, saying it was not in-depth enough, it was too short, it didn't explain. There was just so much more detail that the officer wanted because fundamentally the case was filed using an O1 packet. Now, why was it originally submitted as an O1 packet instead of an EB-1A? I don't know. I don't know why it was filed that way, but you can't just take any O1 application and think that is EB-1A qualified. The next thing is the leading and critical role. Leading critical role and the original contribution almost hand in hand, right? You played a leading critical role in the editing process, and therefore this show came out, and then your original contribution is based on the things that you edited and how big of a splash it made. But is that leading and critical role, That's a hard argument to make, but we did a comparable evidence argument. The role that she plays is critical, right? It's kind of like the functional manager in L1B. You're part of the organizational chart, but you're just doing this one thing, but you do it really well. It's critical to the success of this entire enterprise. That's sort of the type of argument. It's the weaker argument of all the arguments we're trying to make. The client commanded a high salary. 4 pages challenging that her salary was not good enough. We probably spent the most time on this section. And it was hard, not because the salary was not high, but because the client wouldn't give anything. It's really hard to argue you have a high salary when you don't have the actual proof. You could say whatever you want, you could provide letters, but the officer wanted to see it. So it took a long time to finally get her to get the transcripts from IRS, to download everything, and then we were able to pick apart everything and basically show, as a film editor, she was getting more than double what the industry standard is. If your salary is twice as much as what normal people in Hollywood was making, then that's pretty high. And well, the case was approved, right? But again, the hardest part about this is actually getting the tax returns and getting the substance and getting the contracts, because as an editor, pretty much as an independent contractor, it was very loose. It's all about who you know, what you're able to deliver. And if you do a good enough job, people trust you and they hire you and they pay you, and money just goes to your bank account, and then you have to find your own CPA to find. It's a mess, right? But USCIS wants to document things because they want to see if you're really that talented and good. So that's the kind of argument we used for this. This entire case was fascinating from the very, very start. We're so glad to be a part of it because we got to learn so much. This is definitely more art than science. Should they have sued? 50-50, 70-30, but they did. That's not the decision we would have done, but it worked. Every lawyer is their own artist. And that's why we love working with different firms as well. I relish this experience and I want to share it with you. Be open-minded, right? Whatever situation you're in, there's probably somebody somewhere who have gone through the same thing, and engage them, talk with them, and learn from each other. This is just a phenomenal world, and immigration is just so endlessly exciting and interesting. And so just want to share that with you. Now, if you have any questions about this, feel free to reach out. We'd love to jump on a call. Take care.